pollen off the cars and out of our noses too, Lord. So we just thank you for the rain. We thank you for the folks that's gathered here this morning that have concerns and love Montgomery County, and that's the reason they show up today, to be with us, to support us, and to help us. Lord, just ask you to be with us, this Montgomery County Commission, that all the decisions that we're going to make today will be in the best interests of the entire county. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Okay.
Today, we will hear from City County EMA, Superintendent from the Pike Road City Schools, Chuck Ledbetter, Probate Judge J.C. Love, Chamber of Commerce Director of Retention Jessica Horsley, Gerard Jeter from Alabama Fresh, Inc., County Engineer George Speak, and Manager of Public Affairs Hannah Hawk. We'll start with Christy Thornton from EMA.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to start with the issue that we've been pressing on now for 366 days is our COVID-19. The state of Alabama has 395,896 confirmed cases, and we have lost 10,329 of our Alabama citizens. In Montgomery County, we have 20,945 confirmed cases. I know you look at the data in the Bama tracker and things like this, and you'll see there's a little variation in the number, but we count confirmed, not probables, just in case, because we have about a 16% positivity rating, so we know we're going to lose some of those. We've lost 455 of our Montgomery County citizens, and we have tested over 90,796 citizens throughout the course of this. We have already vaccinated for the state of Alabama 459,636 people. We have received 1,214,816 vaccines that have been distributed throughout the state. I know we're not getting the county breakdown as readily available as we want it, but I'm still requesting that information every week for you, Commissioner Harris. We have an upcoming vaccination clinic, and it will be a first dose clinic on March 29th. We're working on the fine details, but if any of our experts that have commented on where we put it and our operation would like to have their input into where, when, how, and anything, they're welcome to call our office at 625-2339, and we'd love to bring some of those Facebook experts in so that we can be sure and get that information as readily available as possible. On March 22nd, the vaccination groups are opening up, so I wanted to be able to go over who all will now be eligible. So this is 55 and older, or, this is a huge or for us, you're 16 to 64 with high-risk medical conditions. And those medical conditions include cancer, chronic kidney disease, COPD, heart conditions such as heart failure, coronary artery disease, solid organ transplants, obesity with a BMI greater than 30, pregnancies, sickle cell disease, those that smoke, type 1 and 2 for diabetes, and other medical conditions determined by your provider. If they give you a note that says you need to get it, by all means, you're going to get it on March 29th. We're going to have around 1,100 doses to distribute that day, and we're not going to be at Montgomery Mall. I know people wanted to complain about the traffic, but you couldn't have found a better location that was easy access for us to be able to vaccinate citizens under the cover and to be able to get as many as we did in the parking lot. But we're moving it to West Montgomery. We want to bring it in where there are bus stops available. So we've actually found a huge space that we're waiting on that final approval, and then we'll be getting with the Alabama Department of Public Health tomorrow for us to be able to get the exact information. And as soon as we have it, we will be sharing it on multiple media events. And what everybody's seeing this morning, and Commissioner Singleton mentioned today, is severe weather. So we wear multiple hats with emergency management. We're just not the virus. We're not just the sirens. We're actually doing several things. The siren at Somerset and Atlanta Highway, we got a complaint about it. Started about 4 o'clock this morning. It was not our siren. It was a gas company relief valve. So just so that everyone is aware of that, our sirens were not malfunctioning. Our team was out there as soon as we started getting the calls, and we were able to get that checked. So severe weather, as you'll see on the monitors, we have a significant threat of severe weather storms expected throughout the day Wednesday and through Thursday morning. All interested need to be prepared for a long-duration event starting in the early hours of Wednesday and lasting through sunrise Thursday morning. We could have possible tornadoes. Strong winds are expected to be between 60 and 80 miles an hour. We will expect hail. So one thing that we want to make sure and try to make sure everybody has a conversation with their family about where their safe place is. Everybody remembers back in elementary school where you had tornado drills and you all get in the hall and cover your head. How many of you have done that at home? So have that conversation with your children, your nieces, nephews, grandchildren. If they're going to be at your house over the next 48 hours, where you will go in case of those type of events. What we're thinking is we're still going to have rain events throughout Thursday around 9 p.m., but the severe weather should be over around lunch. We're actually on the edge, as you can see between the orange and the red, we're right on the edge of the enhanced versus moderate. Moderate is more severe. So just so that y'all are aware, we want to make sure that everybody takes special precautions about the upcoming weather events. Any questions?
On the vaccine, is this Moderna vaccine that we're administering for this next clinic?
No, sir, it will be Pfizer. So that is what, Scott Harris actually picked the date, and Alabama Department of Public Health reached out to us Monday, and so we're already on the cusp for planning, working in, we'll be asking for volunteers. Like I know this is going to be a 2-week turnaround. We have some big things planned and we're working on. Unfortunately, we can't announce them quite yet until we get everything inked in, but there's more things coming that are going to help our communities. So,
You know, you've been doing a pretty good job, Christy.
thank you, sir.
You was speaking this morning like maybe somebody had got you upset because they were criticizing something. You upset?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
I just know that we have several experts that love to get behind their keyboards
Yeah.
that haven't come to a meeting. And so I want to give those people an opportunity to please come in and help us find the perfect location that will not affect anybody's traffic, no one's commute, have a perfect location that won't affect schools or businesses. And it's kind of hard.
All right.
And so when we're trying to put those together, there are several things. I reached out to Commissioner Harris this week and trying to get he's voiced some opinions on our past. And so I reached out to him specifically, where do you think it would be great? And me and my team have been out driving around South Montgomery County. We went to Raymer, we went to Carver. Carver would have been a great location, and yes, sir, I was right there with you on that, but school will be back in for the second dose. So we've had to really plan, and we've actually working with Montgomery Housing Authority, and we're hoping to use the old Smiley Court property. So it's a huge loop, it's out a little bit away from the interstate, but it's easy access and there's bus stops right there. I followed the Matt's bus in yesterday. So that's our hopeful goal site for this to be.
You gonna let me volunteer again?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Okay.
Krista, thank you for what you do and your staff also, so,
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a great day.
thank you.
Now we'll look at what's on our agenda for today. We'll start with 3 public hearings and then consider the items on the agenda, starting with the closeout of the Eastwood Villa Phase 2 Housing Rehab Project, a grant application for the CDBG CV program for COVID-19 relief, consider an alcohol license application for special events retail for a Latino festival, consider a resolution granting an application for authority to incorporate Montgomery Community Local Redevelopment Authority, consider a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation refunding warrants Series 2021A and 2021, consider a board member appointment to the Pentlala Water and Fire Protection Authority, consider county levies for alcohol licensing for 2021-2022, consider a final pay application to Keatum Construction Company for the Scott Street parking deck. Consider an inmate excess medical policy renewal. Consider renaming the Pine Level Park the James Sykes Park. Consider miscellaneous appropriations to agencies. Does anyone have anything to add? Consider miscellaneous appropriations to education.
I got Brutech, $2,947. Principals discretionary for the track team.
Dan, we're supposed to split that, right?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I told you I'd split it with you.
Well, divided by 2.
Okay,
Split Split it between Doug and me.
All right.
Thanks, Doug.
Consider miscellaneous appropriations from designated revenue.
I have two for that, Florence, please. Aid to inmate mothers, 2,000. And King Canvas, 5,000.
Thank you.
Did we do anything on the request from CASA?
No, we have not. It was discussed, and I think there was agreement to do something, and, but nothing has been done to date.
Judge Williams sent each of us a letter encouraging us to support CASA. If y'all remember, their executive director came in and spoke. Yeah, we need to, I recommend we make a decision on
What was
what we
our
would like
ask?
to help them with.
You remember her ask?
10,000?
Was that what it was?
You all wanna do that?
I think we should.
Yeah, I
Let's-
did.
let's
I think
do
we
it-
should.
Let's do it from the joint, the revenue.
From the joint designated
From the
revenue.
Joint designated revenue.
I agree with that.
Is there anything else? Now we will hear from Superintendent Chuck Ledbetter.
Good morning. Appreciate y'all allowing us to come to you and tell you a little bit about what we're asking for.
Chuck, would you put a mic up a little bit higher? So
Can I
they
take
hear-
my mask off?
Yeah, take it, so they hear you on the internet.
I have had my vaccination, so. We are looking at as we grow as a school system, we are completely using all of our space at this time. And so we're here to ask the county commission to allow us to move forward in a process that will allow our citizens to vote to raise our ad valorem taxes for our school system. We know that we'll have to make our case to our citizens, but I want to give a little bit of the case to y'all so y'all understand what we're looking at. We're currently 2,500 students. We're using all the space that we have. We were blessed to be able to acquire the Georgia Washington campus 3 years ago, and we now have almost 1,200 students on that campus. Our other two campuses also are full at the old, what we call the historic campus on Pike Road, and at the building that began Pike Road Schools down off of Marler Road, our elementary school. So as we do that, as we look at this and as we look at what we need to do and as we look at our growth, and the biggest part of our growth, frankly, is the fact that we know we already have in our elementary grades larger groups. Our smallest grades are in our high school. So we know that the wave is coming. It's not we think we're going to have need. We know we have the need, and so we can show our citizens the need and give them the opportunity to make a choice of where we go, because our choices are going to be either to build more facility or put modular units out that, until we have a large amount as we go forward. So we want to make the case to our people. We know we've had a lot of support in looking at that. We know that if you look at it, it says we're asking for a 25.5 mil increase, but that's not actually, 6.5 of that would be replaced. So what we've got on there is a 19 mil increase, and we realize that'll be up to our people to see if that's something that's.
Excuse me. Where are you currently? What's the school millage?
Well,
Pike Road.
that's the town has 16 mills for the school. We have the 10 mills that's countywide. It's actually a 3.5 mil tax, and then the 6.5 mills that are by statute, that came 20 plus years ago when the state said everybody had to have 10 mills. That 6.5 mills gets replaced if we pass a new tax. It'll be replaced by part of the tax.
So you'll have,
So right
so
now,
the net would be how many mills?
our net
increase?
right now is 26, and 19 would take us to, do the math real quick. Yeah, excuse me, yes, 45.
Well, I'm not one to deny the citizens of Pike Road to make that choice for themselves, Unlike some people that would deny Montgomery County that same opportunity, I'm not going to do that. So I don't have a problem with supporting your request to allow the people of Pike Road to determine what's best for their schools.
Thank you for that. We want to be able, to, and like you say, it is, you know, the people have to vote. And so if the people, we will have to make our case to our people, and we know that. We also know that to be able to meet the physical needs of the school system, we're going to have to do something to be able to put our children where they need to be. And I do have with us our CSFO and board chair and vice chair, CSFO Russell Rainey, board chair Ray Hawthorne, and our vice chair Casey Davis. And we also have our tax attorneys. So if there are any questions, any of us are happy to answer any questions that you may have.
So what's our next step? Public hearing?
Yeah, public hearing today.
Okay.
And so then we will put a vote on the next agenda?
Yes.
Has the public hearing been noticed?
Yes.
Yes, they've done that. Okay. Any other comments?
No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Probate Judge Love.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Come to you this morning asking you all to support a joint project between my office, the Board of Registrars, and the Secretary of State's office, and looking at a problem that we really realized was an issue during last November's election. As many of you all know, that serve as the county's chief election official, and while we were certifying votes, we really realized that there was a large number of college students whose votes were discounted and not counted because they weren't showing up on the voter roll. And I just want to say I got Mr. Snipes here and the Board of Registrars here, and they can also add to our presentation. And when we looked and got behind it, we saw that there were a large number of these students who had wanted to vote and participate in last November's presidential election, had registered to vote in many of these sites and sponsored by third-party groups that are promoting voter registration. And so they entered their personal information, and unfortunately, the information was not transmitted back to the Secretary of State and the Board of Registrars for them to be able to vote. So they showed up to the polls. Many of them came and showed screenshots showing that they had confirmed and completed their application. But because those groups failed to transmit their information, then they voted provisional, and because their names were not on the voter rolls, and their votes were not counted. And so as we were talking with Secretary Merrill about this issue and looking at technology, that it came up with using mobile kiosks, of putting these up on college campuses as a way to, one, encourage and promote voter registration. But I think the much larger piece of this puzzle is that when we have these students here, for some 4, 5, some 6, and some 7, that we get them involved about what's going on in Montgomery County. And by them getting involved in elections and being involved in those who are being elected to office, that we hope that by the turn they graduate in 4 years, they would choose to make Montgomery County their home and decide to raise their families here. And so what we're looking at with this is that these mobile, we've talked to all of and got support from the local college universities presidents. So we want to buy 6 of these mobile kiosks to put at Alabama State University, Auburn University at Montgomery, Faulkner University, Huntington College, Troy State, and Trenton Community College. And we also are going to have one that we'll have over at the Election Center for the general public to use. And so as I've talked to the college presidents about this is something that they have been excited about, because it said each individually in their own collective work and on their own college campuses, they've been trying to promote voter registration and in trying to increase voter registration amongst their student bodies. And so them and the student organizations, now you have a physical device. When you're doing a voter registration drive and you're handing out forms, if they don't complete that form while they're standing in front of you, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And so with these machines, having been a student government president, having dealt with voter registration drives, being able to grab 15 folks who aren't registered to vote and take them to a terminal to allow them to go ahead and vote, I think is important. And given the role we played in this push for modern voting rights and the debate that's about to rage nationally regarding Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, I believe that we should do, as Chairman Dean has always said, make the capital city mean something and lead from the front. And so we will be the only county in the state that will be a part of this program. And so we hope that by showing that there's use and demand for it, is something that my fellow probate judges and voter registrars throughout the state will implement in their counties to help increase voter participation. For this project, we're looking to purchase 7 kiosks, and so we're seeking $53,932.62.
Judge Love, in talking to you on, yesterday, you
Yes.
agreed that your office would pay half of that.
Yes, that we would go ahead and put up half the money, so we'd pay each party, put $26,966.31.
The only, like, as we discussed yesterday, when I talked to you yesterday, the only concern I would have is that anybody with a state of Alabama license can use this device, and they all have this device to register to vote. And that was my concern in spending this type of money for something that really is only going to affect people without a state of Alabama driver's license. Now, I am in favor of putting a kiosk at the election center. I like that because there's a lot of people that don't have these. But most of the students that go to college, I would assume, have the opportunity through their cell phone to do this. And we're speaking with the Secretary of State. I told you yesterday, this is not an initiative, a statewide initiative. This was something that was brought to him.
Yeah.
And of course, he's going to support it. I mean, he's Secretary of State. But that would be the only reason that I would be against moving forward. And again, I've never told you no. I told you yesterday,
Yeah.
but I just feel like there's a better use for our funds than that.
Well, I'll 2 things, and as the commission will know, that this is really the second time I've come before you asking for money. And the first time was a year ago when we were talking about increasing our pay of our poll workers to make us more competitive with Jefferson and Mobile County and to bring us in line with what they were paying. And it wound up being a good decision, because who would know that 2 weeks after you all voted that the pandemic would come here to Montgomery County and alter the way that we were living life, and made it challenging for us during the runoffs in July to get poll workers. But the extra pay really helped us be able to not only have election poll workers to work the polls, but have another list of about 300 people that still wanted to work. Now, to your second thing, that technology is great to have, but if people don't know about it. So that's going to be something that we would have to have a concerted push to educate people about it. We've had the mobile app where people can, that we did in the midst of this pandemic, when offices were closed, to allow people to be able to transact their business, in a remote fashion. But we still have been continuing, still having to invest money and letting people know about it. So that's something that, to get it out there and let people know about it. Like, I know the Secretary of State has an app they rolled out, and I didn't know about it until I saw his press release about the District 26 special election, District 78 election. And then I saw it and said, okay, that you've got a mobile out there, but there's no media push or nothing out there advertising. So that's something that will take a separate financial outlay from the commission, about $100,000 to $200,000 to really roll it out to the public, to let everybody know with
Judge,
TV, radio. But just for this,
Judge,
yes.
let me ask the commission to allow us to put it on the next agenda and vote it up or down. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine with me. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
You know, and if we had a day at each college, a voter registration day, I'd be glad to volunteer to be out there on campus and promote it.
And one other thing, that with these machines, and I know the Board of Registrars, they're going to visit the campus, and one of the things that Mr. Snipes has said about it allows them now to sit up right around those kiosks. and
Judge, we got to move
bring those
on.
folks back there. Sorry.
Thank you, yeah.
Next, we'll hear from Jessica Horsley with the Chamber of Commerce regarding the purchase and sale agreement with Premier Tech for a site in the industrial park.
Good morning, Commissioners. Before you today is the sale and contract for Premier Tech.
Talk a little bit loud. Yeah, you can pull your mask down if you're okay with
Okay.
that. Talk a little louder.
And the great thing is that it's a full price offer for those 12 acres. and wanted to see if y'all had any questions.
What do we need to do?
Just place it on the agenda for the next time for the vote.
Okay.
And it's according to the specifications that we've already kind of agreed to.
Same stuff we spent, okay.
Yes, sir.
We do it on the next agenda.
I
Go
just
ahead,
want
go
to
ahead.
clarify.
Yes, sir.
What was the county's commitment?
So we were able to get awarded the IA grant for the road extension. There's going to be the engineering cost for that is about $100,000, and then also the water and the sewer. We're going to have to extend that.
And how much was that?
$250.
So we're talking $350,000?
Yes, sir.
I didn't think that's what we agreed on.
We discussed, yes, sir, we discussed those two items and going ahead and moving forward with those two items, and then with the full price offer of $600,000 for the 12 acres.
So we're gonna receive 600,000 for the 12 acres, and we're gonna end up paying 250,000 out,
350.
350,000.
And we were awarded the $800,000 road work from the IA grant. I feel like I'm breathing into the.
This is to keep a company from moving.
This
This
one
is for
moving,
the,
yeah.
for the job growth, yes, sir.
And we complained about spending $26,000 to increase the voter rolls. I'm all right with it.
Okay. Next agenda. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from County Engineer George Speak.
So we've got three future agenda items. Item number 3, is Black Bear Solar, and they have plans to build a 100 megawatt solar generating station on Butler Mill Road, just north of Grant Road, and we've been back and forth with them about almost a year now, trying to get an agreement worked out where they can put their electrical transmission lines on our right-of-way. And so we finally got the agreement ironed out that satisfies both parties, and we recommend approval next agenda.
Okay.
Does the county get, are there any fees involved with that, for them using the county right away?
No, sir. I think there's a state statute, I think it's 23-185, that allows electrical companies to use county right-of-way, subject to approval by the county commission.
Okay. That's next agenda. What else?
Let's see, item number 4, that's the Mitchell Young US 80 intersection improvement project, and we were successful in getting the grant through A-Trip 2, and the grant amount was $276,000, and the estimated cost is $345,000, and we budgeted $70,000 to cover the difference of that, and the state wants us to sign a letter agreement stating if we'll pay any amount over the grant amount, $276,000, which, like I said, we've got the money budgeted to cover it in our gasoline tax fund.
Okay.
What do you anticipate any cost overrun? I know we're responsible for anything beyond the stated cost here.
Not a substantial overrun there. It just depends on how the bids come in, which, just like our can of research, we had it estimated at around $4.7 million, and the contractor knocked the bottom out of it, and the actual price was 3.7. So, I mean, you just never know till you bid it. But the state's got the plans in order, and they're hoping for June or July letting this year. And they're gonna handle construction and construction engineering inspection. So it's a pretty good deal for us.
I was just concerned about cost overrun because I know the Department of Transportation got about $30 million of this gasoline tax to do projects such as this. And so it seems to me that they might want to cover any cost overrun.
Yeah, we were really fortunate to get the $276,000 grant. And we had to compete with all the counties in the state.
So money's still there. So,
But like I said, we've got the money budgeted to cover it.
all right.
Next agenda.
Next, we can,
Oh, excuse me.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We got one more, it's item number 8. We, personnel advertised our traffic control technician 1, which that's the position does our mosquito spraying in the summer on the night shift. And we only had one applicant, and he was a county road equipment operator over in District 1. And his pay scale was at SO4, Step 5. And said we would just want to make a lateral move. There's no extra money, he'd just move over into the...
How do you do that, George? How do you justify promoting somebody and not giving them a raise?
It's the same pay scale, it's just a
Doesn't
different...
matter. I mean, it's got to be a different responsibility.
Don't have, I mean, if
Is
we can
it
give
the
them a
same
raise...
job? Did you change the name of the job? I mean, is it considered a promotion?
No, sir, it's just a lateral move, same pay scale, there's no extra money, nothing, it's just, he's just moving over from District 1 into our sign job.
Same job.
It's a different job, but it's the same pay scale, same pay grade.
I'm looking at it, just couldn't understand. I mean, even if I'm making, say I'm moving over, I'm transferring, I'm getting a different job with more responsibilities. I'm assuming it's more responsibilities.
As I say, it's just a different job, but it's the same pay grade.
Now, I mean, I'm talking about responsibilities now.
What's he doing now, George?
He's basically a tractor driver, cutting right away with bush
Now he'll
hog.
be the
He'll
mosquito
be the
sprayer at
mosquito
night.
sprayer.
What now?
Mosquito sprayer.
Mosquito
He's gone
sprayer,
from tractor driver to mosquito sprayer.
right. And that's in the summer months, and then the winter months, he'd work with the sign shop on a regular. the city-
Different job title, parallel move.
Right,
It's a
just
parallel move.
lateral move.
Lateral move.
And the only reason we asked him to do it is just a different job title, basically, a different job. Matter of fact, I thought he could just move over and just go into that same job position, but we talked with Carmen about it. She said it's a different job. If he moved over into that, he would have to start back at step 1, which I know he's not going to do that.
Yeah, that's even crazier. I mean, you're gonna promote somebody.
Right, I agree with you
and just
100%.
Take money from them. It just didn't make any sense when I saw it.
I agree with
Believe
you.
me, it's still not making any sense.
I think, Dan, we're getting confused with promote. You're not really
Right.
promoting anybody.
Right, it's just a lateral
Just,
move.
yeah, you just got a
It's not
job
a
open.
promotion.
Same pay grade.
It's just a different job.
And the previous person in that position that resigned is same pay.
And you need this position filled.
We
And he
got
wants to
the
do it.
mosquito
I
season.
don't have a problem with feeling it. I just was just kind of confused about that. I thought it was a promotion, but it's a lateral move, you say?
Yes, sir, and like I say, the mosquito season is almost here now, so.
All right, we'll
Yeah,
do
I
the
mean,
next
Yeah,
agenda.
that's no problem.
Okay, all right. And that's about all we got.
All right.
Thank you.
We had received a submittal revised proposal from one of our people who had applied for our minority business initiative, Gerard Jeter with Alabama Fresh, and he's here if there are questions to ask him about that revised proposal.
Thank you.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Arthur Gerard Jeter. I was born and raised here in Montgomery at St. Jude Hospital. I lived in Wetumpka. I graduated from St. Jude High School. went to Morehouse College. And as you can see, we, as a team, put together a proposal to head up your minority business initiative. I personally have done this for the last 40 years. I started off, well, first of all, my father created the Minority Business Development Office for the state of Alabama under George Wallace. So I was like kind of born into this. I, in fact, went to Atlantic City, New Jersey, and under the first black mayor, created the Minority Business Development Office in Atlantic City, which I ran for 8 years. After that, I moved back to Atlanta, and then we, as a consultant, created the Equal Economic Opportunity Program for the '96 Olympics, which was very successful. We did about 48% minority participation. So now I was the executive director for the Atlanta Public Schools contract compliance, where we oversaw a splosh, $450 million were built and rehabbed new schools in the city of Atlanta. Again, we achieved over 35%. And then I worked as a deputy chief procurement officer for the city of Atlanta over Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, which I oversaw over $25 billion in construction. And again, we did close to 38% minority participation. So with that said, I know myself and my team, which is Kimberly Griffin. She owns DBE Consulting. She has concessions in airports. She assists minorities in getting certified. I know that our team is more than capable of assisting you all in trying to obtain this 30% minority participation. I've already reviewed some of you all's, I guess, bids and proposals, and it's obvious that you all need a process in place to capture this information. Our team can do that. We submitted a very aggressive proposal from the beginning, which because we felt that you all were, serious about this. So that's why we invested in a comprehensive proposal. But identifying that you all didn't really have the funding at this time to do a comprehensive proposal, we reduced our scope. But we still can put together a process so that when you begin to implement your program and hire staff, then the process would be in place. It's my opinion that process means more than an individual. An individual can be replaced, but as long as you got a good process in place, then anybody can follow it. I've reviewed you all's vendors application, and I tried to get a copy of you all's program as it stands now. Wasn't able to get it, and I wanted to see what had been done prior to this particular RFP going out on the street. And as I looked at your vendor registration, it's obvious that you all do have a mechanism to try to create a database, but this vendor's registration was created in 2009, but for some reason, a process wasn't put in place to capture this information. So now we don't even know how many minority contracts we actually have in the area to participate to achieve this 30%. And one thing I do know is that they are going to pass an infrastructure bill. I'm pretty sure of that. That means that it's going to be more than enough work for everybody in this area to get work. But we got to identify what our capacity is. We got to know what we can and can't do. I was listening to the people before me and about other construction projects coming out. Question is, how does the minority community even know when these bids come out? You got to have a process in place to let people know when the opportunities present themselves. I don't see that right now. So again, our team wants to put a process in place, same type of process we did in Atlanta, which works, is working right now. So we're not like recreating the wheel, because we know what to do. We hit the ground running. So with that said, I'd like to open the floor for questions.
Alabama Fresh, I researched DBE and got some really good information. But Alabama Fresh, I Googled it. I cannot find. Can you share a little bit what Alabama Fresh is?
Alabama Fresh is a company that I created in 2009. It's located in Wetumpka, Alabama. It's a consulting firm. We consult to minority businesses. We help them with their certification. We help them with bids, putting bids together, RFPs, and we notify them about opportunities prior to their coming out because we know the procurement process. And that's basically what it is.
Is there another name on the website I can research it?
Doug, go to Secretary of State, Business. I looked it up, it's on there.
I know, but I'm just talking about, like, if I Google up I'm fresh, I wanted to get more information.
No, you're not gonna get that.
Okay,
You're
not
gonna
on
get
there.
that information
Okay.
from me.
Okay. And I guess another thing that I guess concerns me, Florence, is it common practice that we collect proposals, RFPs, and then we share them with people that have submitted, and then we allow people to come back, and is this a common practice? That's my concern. Nothing against you, Mr. Jeter, at all.
I understand.
This is not dealing with you, but is that what we're going to start doing in the future, that if we have proposals given, we collect the information, and then we go back to all the presenters and say, well, here's theirs and here's theirs, or is that what we're going to get into doing is my thing. And I want to make sure I have a clear understanding before we go any further.
Commissioner, I know Mr. Jeter, I know his family, I know the history. And it's nothing like Commissioner Singer said. It's just the process that we use. We've never, ever taken proposals or bid and allowed someone to come back and rebid when we have not taken action on the ones that we received. It's unethical. I cannot be a part of it, but like I said, this is a very astute guy who done a lot of things in a lot of places. It's nothing against him, it's just the process that I am not going to agree with.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
This is not a bid, not subject to the bid laws. This is a contract for professional services. We asked for an RFP. He submitted an RFP. I reviewed them all, and I read them all. And this was the one that came closer to addressing the issues that we needed addressed in our minority program. And I talked to them to make sure. I think that their first interpretation was just too broad, and there was no other bid that really had in it what I thought and had the expertise to get done what we needed to get done. There's nothing illegal, there's nothing unethical, there's nothing improper about calling in an RFP to get the particulars clarified, and that's what has happened. He's presented a plan here. I think it's the only plan that we've received that really addresses what we need to have addressed. If this commission, and this is the time to really show it, if we are really serious about an initiative that's been in force for now going on 4 years, and we don't even know what the minority participation is to date, and we spent $160,000 on this program and gotten zilch. And what I'm saying is we have an opportunity here for someone with the experience, the expertise, and the plan to do some serious work to get us headed toward meeting our stated goal of a minimum of 30% minority participation. And all this money that we're about to spend in this county. And there's nothing, I take strong issue, and you can get an Attorney General's opinion on it, but I take strong issue with your characterization of what's happening here as unethical. There's nothing unethical, there's nothing illegal about talking to a prospective contractor on a professional contract situation.
Mr. Jeter, I'm really not interested in the new proposal. I was more interested in the first proposal, and I read every one of them word for word. And by far, yours was the best presented, by far, no
Yes,
question.
thank you.
And yours was the highest, which I don't have a problem with that either. Because if I can get the quality for the price, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm more interested in the first proposal and what you can do, and justifying what's in there is worth it to me. I don't have a problem going with the higher proposal if I get the quality back, and that's what I'm interested in. I'm really not interested in the second one I was more interested in the first one, to be honest with
Well,
you.
I'm a procurement specialist,
I know that from
and
Atlanta.
I understand that professional RFPs are negotiated. And it's not a bid, a low bid, a high bid. You all judge it and you evaluate it on its merit. And you also get what you pay for. So again, we know our business, and I'm serious about what I do. Again, that's all I've been doing all my life, and the proof is in the pudding.
So Florence, what was wrong with sharing a copy of our current program?
Pardon?
What was, the gentleman said he could not get a copy of our current minority participation program. Was there an issue with sharing that?
I'm not sure what you were wanting to have a copy of.
I had attempted to put in a public open records, but at that time, to be perfectly honest with you, I put it into the city of Montgomery, because I was kind of confused with the two programs, I still am. But I understand that Montgomery is the largest city in the county, and they do most of the spending, so that's why I did go open records to them. Then they told me that you all were the ones who was putting the RFP out. So it's kind of
And
convoluted.
that was a part of the problem, Doug, with the first one. The first one assumed this giant procuring for the entire Montgomery city and county. So to clarify, he was called in and actually saw that we're talking about one procurement department that procures for the entire county. And that's why this second plan, it doesn't include all the stuff that the first plan does, because the first plan presumes buying for everybody, for the city and the county.
Okay.
That was a poor presumption, but I just want to be clear, you didn't ask the county for information and were denied any
No, I
information?
wasn't denied, no.
Okay, just wanted to be clear on that.
All right, any more concerns? We need to move on.
Well, I do think, Mr. Chairman, that we need to, and I don't think we've been serious up to this point about real minority participation. I do see where we're talking about the Mitchell Young Road project, but we put in paragraph M, and I just wanted to go back for the sake of adding to the discussion. We talk about diversity and historically significant racial achievements in Montgomery. We put that in our contract when it comes to building these roads and other transportation projects, as if we want to paint a picture that we're very serious about minority participation. But we have not actually lived that out. Now, we have this paragraph attached to this contract to give the impression that we're serious and that we're actually engaged in real minority participation, diversity and inclusion, but we really have not demonstrated that to this point. In my opinion, I hope that we could move forward with a serious minority participation program.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I suggest that we move forward with negotiating a memorandum of understanding with Mr. Jeter's group to present to this commission to move forward, to get some serious work done on this project.
Well, I'm not going to agree with it because I don't like the process. And that's up to the rest of them. You get the votes to do it.
In our formal session, we are voting for another group in our formal session today, correct? Is that?
No, you're not
Today
voting for
today we're discussing whether we're going to move that forward.
And quite frankly, I investigated that. I talked to the mayor. He doesn't know who negotiated it. I talked to the chairman. He didn't negotiate it. I don't know where it came from. And I've read it. And the things that they're talking about doing might be helpful for the city, but they're not what we need as a county.
We need
So
to move on.
what I'm proposing, we can't move on without addressing this. We're
He's
serious
making a
about it.
presentation. He's not up
Yeah,
for
but
action.
we can.
It's
we
a
can-
presentation. It's not at that time. I mean,
This is the work session, and what I'm proposing is that we agree to move forward with negotiating a contract with Mr. Jeter's group
Well, we
to
got-
handle our minority
we
initiative.
got 4 contracts. We got 4 things that we're supposed to be looking at, and we have not acted on it.
This
You
is
are
the
the only
time.
one that acted on it.
No, this is the
Okay.
time, it seems that I'm the only one that's serious about this.
You're not the only one that's serious, but I respected you for taking the lead, but I think
So
we,
give me some help here.
well, we need to do something, and I wouldn't have any problem with doing it today.
We need to make, to decide today, because we could keep kicking this can down the area, dealing with trying to get, well, I don't want to go there. What I want to talk about is what we have here before us today, and to move forward. We're trying to get an agreement that we could present to this commission and decide whether or not to put it on the next agenda or not, and vote it up or down. So can I get that agreement, Mr. Singleton?
I would agree that we put somebody on the next agenda to vote on them.
How can we put something on somebody on the next agenda? We
Because you
gotta
had-
have an agreement.
Because you had 4 proposals, Dan, and you know that, okay?
I told you what I thought about the four.
Well, but
I
that's
read
what
them
you
all.
thought, that's what you thought about it. That's
Well-
what I still think about it, but you know, you got, it's
Doug
5
told you
of
what he
us.
thought about,
What did,
and I told you what I thought
I
about.
ain't heard nothing Mr. Singer say.
Well, I heard him. And-
You know,
and
it's not a time to argue about it.
No, I'm
you
not
know.
arguing. I'm saying is, we need another, there's nothing really.
You don't want you don't want the group that's been doing it. You and I
The
disagree on
group
it.
that has,
Okay.
that we have
So
spent
you need to
100.
stop lambasting these people on Facebook.
I'm
and all
not
that stuff.
lambasting
That's what you're
anybody.
doing.
Oh, well,
Okay.
let me just say this. We've spent
Man, that
$160,000
ain't no money.
on this project, and we've got zilch for it. And for some reason, the chairman wants to continue to use these people. We have here, fellow commissioners, someone with the experience and the expertise and really the will to do something. And what I'm saying is, I'm suggesting and recommending that we go with this, get to work on a contract with this group to handle the minority initiative. And that's my suggestion.
I
And
support
I'd like
that
to get
recommendation.
I'd like to hear from each one of you what you think about it.
I support that recommendation. We really need to get serious. We have not been serious about this. It's millions of dollars are spent in Montgomery County for various services and products, but very few, if any at all, minorities, African Americans, are privy to any of those contracts. And we used to be at law and all other kind of excuses, good old boy network, to continue the same practice that's been going on for over the last 100 years. Social justice, equity has not ever been serious here, no serious discussion in Montgomery County. And it's time we move forward. The people you all gonna have to be the one to decide. You all gonna have to get upset about the lack of minority participation and make your voices heard. Because you know, we live in a system here in Montgomery County that likes to talk about racial diversity and what Dr. King has done. We take him out of the box for 3 or 4 days every year. And once we get excited about what we used to do, we put him back in the box. And so we have got to get serious about minority participation. We don't have it, at least not at any appreciable level that it ought to be, particular in reference to the population and the percentage of the population that we enjoy as African Americans. We don't have our fair share.
Mr. Jeter, you're more than qualified. There's no doubt. But if we don't, and we can have this meeting all day, but if we want minority participation, we all have to buy in. We all have to get involved. Everybody on this commission, everybody in this audience.
That's correct.
And it's been lip service over the years. It has been. So regardless of whoever we pick as our leader, Mr. Jeter can't be successful if we don't all buy in and everybody else don't buy in. We're just setting you up for failure.
That's correct.
So whatever we do, we have to come together and make this happen. But to answer your question, on our information session today, there is a topic on putting the group I think Ziegler-Moore group on the next agenda. I'm in favor of doing that on the next agenda, and we vote. And if we don't agree to that, then we're right back where we started again, and we'll consider options.
What you're saying is you're prepared to put on the next agenda a contract that nobody on this commission negotiated, and nobody, and it has in it stuff that we don't even need to have done. You're willing to put that up for a vote, something that doesn't even do what we need to have done on its face. And nobody owns up to it.
I've given you and Commissioner Singer time to talk and argue your point. Your points are well taken, so we just need to move on.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I do not believe, as my colleague previously stated, that we, as a Montgomery County Commission, ever use the law as an excuse. Conversely, we follow the law, and we follow the state bid law. And if we have issue with the state bid law, I would encourage my colleagues to go down the street and talk to the legislative delegation, talk to your Senate members, your House members, talk to the governor. That's where the law can have teeth or not. The federal law is very different, and it's probably more in line with what you're looking for. It has teeth, it has set-asides. The state law does not. We follow the state bid law. We do not make excuses by following the law. When we started this process, I was certainly open-minded with regard to bringing in someone new. We have used the same organization for a while. I was interested in seeing the various proposals that we received, and looking at that initial group of proposals. I won't consider your refreshed proposal. I will only consider the initial proposals. We put a request out, we got proposals. While it may not be unethical, the way that we have handled this, it is certainly not proper, in my opinion, certainly not a precedent that we want to set. Based on that, I concur with Commissioner Singleton. I am fine to move our existing consultant forward, the Moore Ziegler Group, and utilize and have an opportunity to vote on that contract at our next meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity.
What's next, Florence?
We have numerous items. There was one item that we wanted to consider as a waived rule item, possibly or open for discussion, and that being the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, selecting a group to administer that. We can postpone that. We can answer questions, however you want to proceed with that.
Is there another waived rule beside that?
No, sir.
Okay, you want to discuss that?
Right, so before the commission now is the decision with regard to the emergency rental assistance, if we want to look at that. And the resolution is just asking us to fill in the blanks.
Correct, depending on the group that you would select to administer that.
Based on the information that we've received, and we've received a lot, some groups have fallen out of the process. They've taken themselves out, realizing that it was too big for them to handle. Based on the information that we've received, I think there are a couple of organizations that could handle this process. I believe the state of Alabama hired Horn to fulfill their piece of the rental assistance program, and my recommendation is that Montgomery County also hire this same group. They are tested, they know what they're doing, they are highly qualified, and with a program of this magnitude, I feel that it is imperative that we hire someone who is highly qualified and can do the job. That is my recommendation to the commission.
Any other commissioners?
I just have one comment on this. This is another example where we essentially asked for an RFP, and the initial RFPs came back, and none of them really addressed what we wanted to have addressed. So we asked for additional submission from these groups, and everybody submitted except 2 or 3. And so we're reconsidering that. So it's all, there's nothing unethical about that. There's nothing improper about that. It's common practice if you're trying to if you're serious, like we are serious about getting this rental thing, there's nothing unethical about it, nothing improper about it, if you're serious about what you're trying to do.
Commissioner Harris, do you have a recommendation on the rental?
I support your suggestion. I support your suggestion, but I'm just showing you how it looks to people looking at it objectively when you're serious about something and you vote to do something, and when you're not serious about something and how you act.
Point very well taken. Any other comments?
I'm trying to remember, I read all of these proposals, I'm trying to remember Horn. Where are they from? I meant to bring my notebook.
Horn is located in Jackson, Mississippi. It started as a CPA firm and is now does consulting across the United States on different government funding programs.
Did they propose to work with any of our local vendors to assist with the case management portion?
That would be our decision. It was my understanding that they would be willing to do that based on our recommendation.
Right, or we can identify local agencies to assist, I think, best in the outreach and assisting in making applications. And we could contract with them directly, engage them. However, their fixed fee is less than the entire 10% that's available for administrative costs, so that gives us some money right there if these groups needed to be compensated for additional services.
I remember, I did read it, I was just, of all the different proposals, became a little cloudy, but yeah, I found them to be a group that I think can carry out the function on the requirements of the Department of the Treasury.
Okay, can we,
I'm in favor of
Okay.
waiving rules and
Waive
let's
rules.
make this happen, because people are waiting on the money.
Okay.
Agreed.
We need to move forward.
Well, of course, now the state is taking care of those folks while they wait, you know, you could.
That's correct.
Yes.
Right, but
Okay.
that will end before our next meeting.
Yeah.
okay, all right.
But you're right.
I
So
don't
we
know
will
that.
waive rules.
Waive rules, right.
And we will need to come back after the formal session to finish the items, I believe. Or do you want to run through those real quickly?
Is there anything of a critical nature that we need to touch on? Only a critical nature.
We
We can
have,
go through it right quick.
No, we don't have to go through the whole thing,
Not the whole thing.
and only if there's anything of a critical nature. I'll let you be the judge of that.
there's alcohol license application for Latino Festival, bid award to NEC Corporation for mobile fingerprint collection devices, and a bid award to Copel Advertising for juvenile
All that would
detention.
be next
If we
agenda,
can
right?
circle back.
Yeah.
And I believe that covers all of those items. The other general information items can be dealt with at the next meeting.
I'm not sure what you're asking. Did we make a decision on moving the minority contract to the next agenda?
No, I don't think so.
I'm no vote on that.
So
My recommendation was that we put the Moore Ziegler contract on the next agenda for an up or down vote.
I'm okay with that.
I am also.
I disagree with that, but apparently we
Right.
got the 3 votes we need.
Next agenda.
So that item will be on the next agenda.
We can vote it up or down.
I think that covers all the items.
Okay.
Can we have 2 minutes?
Yes, 2 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I want to be sure that we are mindful of the fact that there are some people here who want to be heard on the public hearing. I know we're not there yet, but I want to make sure we don't waste a lot of time and cause them to become disenchanted with the process because they wanted to be heard on
We're
the,
just gonna take care of business like we usually do.
okay, I just want to make sure that we don't waste time. Yes, sir.
We're gonna take
They
care
want
of
to, they want to be
business
heard.
like we
Okay.
We're gonna recess for about 2 minutes.
2-minute break, then we'll reconvene.
Yeah.
You good? Okay, I'm gonna tell Charles. 5:30, that's my child Friday, this Friday. Yep.